Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to our last predictions episode for this year's Worlds 2020. We're covering the grand finals in this video, alongside the results to the semi-finals, and this is going to be a decent video because we've got quite a bit to talk about going into this grand final on each of these teams that are in it. But without further ado, let us load up into our results for the semi-finals that have just happened. So, we kick off this video's results with the G2 versus DAM1 series. This series ended 3-1 in favour of DAM1, getting themselves revenge for last year's defeat to G2 in the quarterfinals. And obviously this was a very impressive performance by this LCK lineup. They just decimated G2 and showed a bit of, well, I would say BM against them after their win. But it was a great performance nonetheless, and you can kind of see the style that DAM1 want to play in this actual game. It's very good. That being said, our prediction was G2 winning 3-1. Getting the reverse result to what we actually predicted. And as for the other series, well, this was a barn burner of a game. Suning versus Top Esports, and a lot of people predicted Top to win. Obviously, they were the favourites to win this entire tournament, but the dark horse Suning, they upset the second LPL seed, and they upset the first LPL seed, winning 3-1. I expected the series to be close, considering how Top performed against Fnatic, but I didn't expect Suning to actually beat them 3-2. And obviously, that kind of tells you what results we got. This week was a perfect 0 out of 2. So our actual total hasn't changed, which is actually a decent thing to say. So overall, we could get +1 to our total, getting us a grand total of something. I don't actually know what that is right now. And yeah, that's actually very, very good. And there you have confirmation of our results so far. 16 out of 28 for the play-ins. Groups week 1, we got 17 out of 24. Groups week 2, 15 out of 25. The quarterfinals, 3 out of 4. And the semis, 0 out of 2. Obviously, we could add one more row to this tally once Worlds is finished next week. And it's either going to say finals 1 out of 1 or 0 out of 1. So our results cannot change really much anymore, but they still can alter. And honestly, we've done very well at Worlds this year, and I'm actually looking forward to making our last prediction for this tournament. Now it's time for the moment you've all been waiting for. It's the grand finals predictions, and we've gone through these two teams as a whole in our semi-finals breakdowns, and we've gone over the strengths and weaknesses these squads show. And honestly, it's going to come down to the wire in this series for me. I feel it's a very close matchup. And we look across the board at the individual lane matchups. We'll start in top lane, Norgri versus Bin. Two very strong carry top laners. We saw in our series breakdown between Suning and Top, Bin outplaying on his Jax, making himself the big carry for his lineup. Whereas you have Norgri, who is the out and out one of the best top laners in the world in terms of his picks. He brings out a cannon once in a while that just decimates. He can bring out any real big carry. He brought out a Fiora in the semis. Granted, it didn't win. He still can bring out these sorts of picks that just may surprise Suning Gaming. As for the jungle matchup, this is going to be very highly contested between these two players. Canyon versus SOFM, or Style of Me. And I've got a feeling, like the Top Esports versus Suning series, it's going to come down to a battle for the Lee Sin. These two players, while Style Me is mostly known for being one of the best Lee Sins in the world, Canyon can still whip out this pick and do a lot of work on it. Obviously, with the style that Damwon go towards being this team fight heavy sort of style they want to play for, it's a good champion to go for them because you can land the kick and pick off the enemy team. That's the sort of thing that you want as a jungler to do. You want to isolate targets and win fights that way. As for the mid lane matchup, this is probably one of the more intriguing matchups to me. Showmaker, he's a guy that you'd expect by now to have already won his world championship. He's that good. And obviously he was overshadowed for quite some time by Faker in the LCK. But Showmaker is a very strong mid laner. He can play pretty much anything and everything that's offered in the mid lane. We've seen him on the TF. He can play that exceptionally well, create plays across the map, and he can also play control mages and keep himself in a winning lane matchup. Whereas Angel has been, well, we've seen him from group stages. He's grown more and more as a player in this tournament, honestly. He didn't look too good in the first few games in Worlds, but as it's gone on, he's gotten better, and he's looking very dominant in that mid lane as a player. As for the bot lane, we move down there. This is a good matchup as well because you have Ghost, who's in his rookie year. He's performing quite well at Worlds, though he isn't the superstar figure that you'd say out of Damwon. They're mostly all consistent, very strong players. Ghost is still doing exceptional work for his lineup versus Huang Feng, who I would say has been just one of the strongest performers on the Suning lineup. He doesn't get touted about too much, but he's very good. He's very sharp at his abilities and mechanically is one of the best players at this World's tournament. I'd honestly say it's going to be a very big bloodbath of a matchup in that bot lane, and I want to see the two lanes spark up early into this series. As you look at the bot lane supports, probably two of the biggest OGs for their regions. Sword Art being probably the LPL's like OG. He's a very strong player. He played on Flash Wolves. He was strong on that roster. He's a very good player at playing strong engage champs. And he's going up against Beryl, who is probably the best engage heavy champion support in this tournament. Obviously, we saw him whipping out the Leona against G2 and absolutely decimating them with that pick. It was probably the best pick that he could go towards in this tournament, and you're probably going to see a lot of contention for this Leona pick in this tournament and this grand finals because it is a strong pick that these two players would love to go towards. Now, I'm going to hark back to both my series breakdowns between these two rosters. Well, and I want to just say how I feel and how they're going to win. Obviously, you've seen how these two teams lose. We've seen that teams punish Style of Me's positioning. Obviously, he's a very aggressive jungler in terms of the fact that he wants to steal away camps at almost any opportunity. He gets behind you a lot, and teams can capitalize on this with strong vision. Damwon are probably one of the best vision games in this tournament, and if Style Me wants to go for his sort of style, he's realistically going to be punished quite a lot unless he plays very safe and is a bit more calculated in his movements. Now, he is probably one of the best calculated junglers in this tournament. We've seen him basically baiting opponents into where he is, and obviously he's doing something else, and that is a big thing you need to do as a jungler that we've only realistically seen out of him in this tournament. But it comes down to the wire in terms of how these two teams perform, and I'm going to make my prediction right now. We've spent 6 minutes going between each role and how they line up. how do I feel it's going to go? I feel this matchup is going to be a Damwon win, 3-2-1. I was tempted to go 3-2, but honestly, I feel that Damwon's style is so solid and so easily executable that the way that Suning want to play is going to be quite hard to deal with how Damwon play. Beryl is a very good support at roaming and getting vision, and the way that Suning want to play is to get around the map and create plays. Beryl's going to be very good at shutting this down, and a lot of the pressure does fall onto his shoulders, but obviously he's got the experience on the world stage. He will be in a very crucial position for this Damwon lineup, in my opinion, and when it comes down to it, I expect probably a few bans towards champs like TF by Suning, so that and Ashe, I would also say, gets banned out, as the vision game needs to be nullified from Damwon if Suning are to win. That being said, Damwon just can control objectives like they have done through the entire tournament, and Suning are going to have to rely on style me to steal it away. There are a lot of ways for Suning to win, as they are a very scrappy team. Scrappy style wins against Damwon if they can play it to perfection, but obviously we saw G2 flailing around the map and Hakuna Matataing pretty much everywhere, giving over 3 kills, 3 objectives to Damwon, and they got shut down quite quickly, meaning that there realistically isn't too good of a style to beat this lineup from Damwon. Anyway, that is my prediction. I'm going 3-1 Damwon. It's a very hard game to predict because Suning have just upset so many teams in this tournament so far. Only time will tell after Saturday's game. We'll have a new world champion, and I'll be probably releasing the results to that afterwards. Anyway, let's end this video out in the only way I know how to. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be it for this predictions video. If you enjoyed it, leave a like down below, subscribe if you're new around here if you want to, and be sure to follow me on Twitter. I'll be posting updates throughout Worlds 2020's grand final, starting from the opening ceremony onwards. And oh boy, I can't wait to play Seraphine. She's out today, when, obviously, spoiler alert, when this video goes up. Nonetheless, I'll see you guys later. Peace out.